Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. We have some Scrimmage Rainbow Cup battles here with Smoke Bulbasaur, the North Shore Regional Select. So, got Raichu versus Lapras. We want to find out very quickly if it's running Ice Shard or Water Gun. It's running Ice Shard, so that means that his charge moves are going to be charging up much faster than normal. So we dip into a Thunder Punch, drawing a shield, and he makes a quick exit and swaps out his Executor. Now we decide to hang in there and hit it with a Wild Charge, which is either going to draw his second shield or do decent damage. Now we know that if we switch Charizard, he should be able to feint him down with fast attacks. Now Lapras is half ice, half water, so fire hits it for neutral damage. So we know that we can either do a good chunk of damage or draw a shield. Now our Charizard has some energy stored, so we want to keep it. Now with this next Pokemon, we're going to want to hit it with a Dragon Claw to try to bait the last shield. He's hanging on to it because we have two other Pokemon in the back. And luckily, because of the stored energy, we're able to hit Dragon Claw again. Now at this point, we know that Azumarill can come in and bubble him down for the victory. So great first match, very timely switch. But we were able to battle back and have resistances already. Now, going into the second match, we decide to lead with a Fortress, and he goes Celebi. Now, Celebi is an interesting Pokemon because it is weak to Bug, so our Bug Bites are going to be doing a ton of damage. He makes a quick swap into Typhlosion, and we decide to go into our Raichu. Now, Typhlosion's attacks hit like a truck, so we want to block it, and then charge up all the way to Wild Charge and throw that Thunder Punch as a bait. Luckily he shields, and we know that we can get to a Thunder Punch before he gets to another Blast Burn. Legacy Thunder Shock charges up charge moves very, very quickly. Now after this shield, we make a really silly mistake. By trying to feint the Typhlosion with Thunder Shock, we end up getting hit with a Blast Burn. So essentially, we just wasted a shield without doing any considerable damage or energy gain. Now, we're on a 2-on-2, and he has a 1 shield advantage. So as we wait for him to send out his second Pokemon, we see its Executor. We get a couple hits in, and then we swap out to Fortress. Now the great thing about this matchup is that Executor's charge attacks aren't going to do anything to us. And we're able to just feint him down with Bug Bite. Now with whatever comes out, we're going to hit it with a Rock Tomb to try to draw a shield, which we get. And now Bug Bite's going to do a whole lot of damage here. And we're able to finish it off with a Rock Tomb. So although we made that one really silly mistake, we were able to come back from this one. Now, just in case that was not double grass, we still had a Quagsire that was pretty close to another Stone Edge. That's why it's always really important to store energy. Now for this third battle, we have a mirror match, Shiny Venusaur versus Shiny Venusaur. And what we need to watch out here is for Sludge Bomb. Now in a lot of mirror matches, you'll see that we'll overcharge until someone makes a decision. Frenzy Plant is to bluff, which won't hurt, and Sludge Bomb does a good amount of damage. So as you can see, he bluffs me, and then swaps out immediately to Beedrill. and I make a swap out to my Quagsire. Now this is good for us because we have the type advantage, however he has the 1 shield advantage. Luckily, X-Scissor and Sludge Bomb don't do much to Quagsire because he is part ground, and we can just fire off Stone Edges. Now X-Scissor charges pretty quickly, so we let this one hit, and then we go for our Stone Edge. Now this time he decides to shield. I probably wouldn't have, but he is able to feint our Quagsire with fast attacks. Now over here I decide to go into a Azumarill, thinking that he would not be able to get to Sludge Bomb in time. However, I did shield just in case because that would hit us for super effective damage. And then he hits us pretty hard with a Frenzy Plant here. Now luckily, we've stored some energy and we're able to hit it with an Ice Beam. But ultimately, we decide to switch in and Vine Whip him down. Now we're waiting for him to select his next Pokemon. We have a fully charged Venusaur. And depending on what comes out, well, this did not work out well for us. X-Scissor ends up hitting Venusaur pretty hard, but we were able to get off a Frenzy Plant. Great move on his part to essentially sacrifice his Beedrill. And we had a fully loaded Frenzy Plant that we were not able to get off. And he's able to just hit us with an Acid Spray to finish off this battle. So switching into Beedrill to soak up a Frenzy Plant was a great move on his part. So in our next practice battle, we're going to end up trying out a few other Pokemon. I'm going to end up starting off with my Raichu. And he's going to end up trying out his Beedrill and the lead spot. Now we're pretty happy with this matchup because we can charge much quicker than he can. And he goes right into a Raikou. Now again, we decide to end up hitting the Wild Charge. If he wasn't move counting, he might let it go. And he does. And we're able to continue to farm energy. Somehow we get this Thunder Punch off. I don't know if he was storing energy or not. I assume he was because he was shielding. Now he's going to let off a series of fast charge attacks. Now we take the first one thinking that it is Shadow Ball, which it is. And then this next one, we predict it's a Wild Charge. But we are wrong. And that does a huge chunk of our damage. Luckily, we're able to burn that second shield. And Raichu has done a great job. Now we decide to go into our Charizard because Fire Spin does more damage. And he decides to swap out into a Beedrill. Now the good thing about Beedrill is that we're able to hit it with super effective damage, being Bug. And after that X-Scissor, we figure we could feint it down. Now we want to keep our Charizard, especially because it is overloaded. And whatever comes in, we probably should have done Blast Burn, would have done a ton more damage, even if it is resisted by a Azumarill. But we are able to now do an Azumarill on Azumarill, which if you've ever seen one before, is one of the most painful matches because it takes so long. Now on these, you want to go play rough, especially now that there aren't any shields involved. Get our 3 rings. Now this is where gamesmanship happens. He switches into his Raikou, hits me with a Shadow Ball. If it was a Wild Charge, I'm sure it would have fainted me. However, we're able to farm some energy and then hit a Azumarill with a Play Rough. Now, as we're bubbling away, he's going to hit me with an Ice Beam. But luckily, we have Charizard in the back already ready with a Blast Burn. That's why it's so important to store energy even before you swap out. Now that was a great battle. I'm not sure if he has double moved that Raikou, because Wild Charge on a few of those scenarios would have definitely put me in a much bigger hole, and I think it would have changed the outcome of that game. Now we're feeling a little frisky, starting off with a Charizard. He throws out a Quagsire. Now I've faced this Quagsire before, and I know that it's running Acid Spray Stone Edge. And I know that we can get to Blast Burn before he gets to Stone Edge. And Blast Burn does a pretty good amount to that Quagsire. Now we're within striking distance, so we want to shield and then attempt to get off that Dragon Claw. So now we're even on shields, and we both make a swap at the same time, and it completely puts us in a bad scenario, because Executor with Confusion is able to really take huge chunks. But we get to Sludge Bomb, and he blocks. So the good news story is that he has no more shields. We have one, and we have Charizard going to work. Now because Confusion hits so hard, it doesn't charge. So by blocking this attack, we're able to feint him down. Now we have a full Charizard. And again, I continue to use Dragon Claw, not sure why, when I just should have shot out my Blast Burn. Nothing worse than seeing a Pokemon go down with full energy. So now, this Stone Edge is going to do a pretty good amount of damage to this Typhlosion and knock it out. And now we have a Quag on Quag battle. He's not running Earthquake, so this is all but over. Another close battle. Again, really appreciate everyone for tuning in. Hopefully this was insightful, and I'll catch you next time.